Don't worry, I got something for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with makeup. The first thing that I always like to do is start off with a primer. Sometimes I use multiple. Right now my favorite one is going to be the Milk Hydro Grip. I will be inserting product details below or on the screen, just kind of depends on how I edit this video. So I just went ahead and I put that there. Now, dark circles are an indication of dryness. So I do like to use a second primer, which is the Bobbi Brown Face Base. And I usually like to put this through what I like to call my problem area, which is kind of like right here and right here. So I just like to put that in those areas just like that. I haven't had my eyebrows done in, I don't know, a year and a half. And I'm still trying to get them a little bit thicker, so they look kind of crazy right now. But usually the next step, see, and then I just kind of take the excess like wherever kind of I feel like maybe I was a little bit drier. I ain't putting no makeup down here, so I don't know why I put it all the way down there, but whatever. The next step, which I like to do, would definitely be my eyebrow. So I used to think that what really made your makeup was eyelashes, but let me tell you, eyebrows really set the stage for how your makeup is going to turn out. So I'm just using the spoolie on one of my brushes here and just kind of running that through my eyebrows, and I'm just literally brushing them up. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Then I like to, I'll actually leave that out. Then I like to move on to my 24-hour brow setter by Benefit. And I usually do 2 layers of this. Just kind of depends on the last time that I laminated my brows, which I do at home. And the reason why I like to do this before makeup is because all of like the powders or the foundations and all of the different products don't get stuck into your brow hairs, and it makes your eyebrows look just that much better. So I'm just going ahead and brushing this through the brow, and I'm not really being too specific, I would say. I will then just kind of sit and wait for that to dry. Usually, you know, I have a cup of tea. Let's have some water. Let's drink some water. So now I will go ahead and go in with the second layer of the brow setter, and this time I'm being a little bit more specific. Sorry, I'm looking over here because there's a mirror right there that I do my makeup in. A little bit more specific with placement and how I want my brow shape to be. I don't know why the day, I usually don't get pimples, but on the day that I want to film a Get Ready With Me, I have pimples, so life goes on. So now the brows are up, and again, we'll just let that dry a little bit. I do like to use 2 different brow products. The first being the Shape and Shade Brow Tint from MAC, and then the other thing that I more recently have started using is the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, which a lot of people say is a dupe for the Anastasia. This one's actually called Ash Brown, and then for the MAC one, I use the color Stud. Now, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do my brows off camera. Okay, so now that I am a total bush baby, so what I did is I took the pencil, which is slightly lighter, and I fill in kind of like the center portion of my brow. I go ahead and run the spoolie through all of my eyebrows, kind of dispersing that product, although keeping the center portion the densest with that ash brown color. After that, I will go ahead in with MAC because that gives you more hair-like strokes, and I'll go ahead and fill in the front of my brow and the tail end of my brow, along with any leftover sparseness that's left in the center. Then I just go ahead with the spoolie again and just kind of brush through and make sure I like the way they are shaped, and make sure that everything is nicely blended into the brow. Now, this is not my everyday makeup. We are kind of like bumping it up just a little bit, but we're not going completely full glam. Like, this is no New Year's Eve makeup or anything, but this is definitely not the makeup that I wear to work. The next step for me usually is that I would then go ahead and just carve out my eyebrows. What I like to use is actually just a very small, like when I say very small, I mean like super small pump of my foundation, which is the NARS Natural Radiant. But because I do want my eyebrows to be slightly more, like a little bit lighter, just literally, when I say literally a dot, I mean, well, I just did 3 dots, but a very small amount of my concealer, which you can kind of see there, and I will mix those together, and that's what I will use to carve out my brow. So this is like nothing special, but it's just a concealer brush that I have. I've mixed those 2 colors together, and I'm just going to go ahead and carve out my brows, filling in any imperfections. And because I have these bits on my forehead, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of just tap on those. And also, like I said, carve out that brow to give it a little bit more of a define. Yeah, like just kind of defining it a little bit more. Now, as you can see, this is not extremely light. I'm not doing like a halo look around my brows. This is literally just me kind of cleaning them up. Also, I don't want to get too close because I did my eyebrows first. I don't want to get too close to my brows when I do my foundation, which I will be doing next. So just a smidget underneath as well. And when I do underneath, I'm literally taking this and I'm not laying it flat on the skin. I'm kind of like doing it like how I would a pencil. And that's how I get kind of the line. And then with the remainder of the product, which there's really not even that much product on this brush, you know, then I may come down slightly onto the brow bone and lid space, and then kind of just fill in the center area. I'll wash my brushes after. I usually like to leave them all out, but I don't want it to be messy back there. Then I'll go in with my concealer brush and just kind of tap all of that to kind of blend it out. And again, on the lid, I'm doing the same thing. Yeah, boom. I don't know what foundation combo I want to use today. Okay, I know. My tried and true is always the NARS Natural Radiant, so I'm gonna go ahead and use about 1 pump of that, and I will mix that with about half a pump, not even, maybe half a pump of the Huda Faux Filter. Then I'm going to take the smallest, when I say the smallest, and I don't even use the pump because I feel like I can't control it, the smallest amount of this the Glow Oil. This is what gives my makeup that kind of like glowy look sometimes. Woo! Okay, a lot came out, y'all. But when I say like the smallest amount, that's how much I'm mixing in. Like the smallest amount. Okay, I am back. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of mix that up. I'm actually happy. And then whatever's on my finger, I just kind of put a couple of dots around. I don't specifically, I itch in my eyebrow, or on my lash line, I should say. I do not specifically apply makeup to my forehead. I feel that when you apply makeup to your forehead, that's when you start to look like a cake face. And as you can see, I'm just using my Makeup by Mario brush, and I'm just using the smallest amount of this foundation. It's not a ton, just a teeny tiny bit, and I'm pulling it up and I'm starting to cover my dark circles. Not completely covering them, but I'm starting to cover them. I know I actually have like these little, I think they're skin tags actually, on my face, and I know I have too much foundation on when I can't see those. So that's kind of my indicator of the use of too much foundation. So let's just go ahead. So even the amount of foundation that I have mixed is way too much for my face. So I still have all this foundation left over, and I'm not gonna use that because I feel like the coverage that I have overall is enough for me. There are specific areas such as my under eye circles that I will be focusing on, but this is enough. You could do your ears. My ears aren't going to be showing today, so I'm not going to do them, although usually I would go in and do that, but I will draw it a little bit down onto the neck to make sure everything is completely seamless. Yes, and then this, I'm going to waste it and just kind of get rid of whatever's left. Okay, so next I am going to go in with my concealer combo. And this is, again, one of my many concealer combos, and it will depend on the foundation or the base that I use, what I use for my concealer combo. But for today, I am going to use the Huda High Achiever. I use it, I don't even know what color I use it in. I'll look up my Sephora account and let you guys know what color I use it in. But it does have a little bit more of a peachy undertone, so I use it more as a corrector shade. Sometimes what I'll do, even to kind of, I'm out of focus, to bump up the correction, is I will add a little bit of the LA Girl peach corrector to it, which I guess I'm gonna do today, just for the correction underneath my eyes. I'll mix those two together, and this is kind of the color that I get. I don't think it's showing up on camera very true to the color, but it does have a peachy undertone. And I'll use I'm just using my middle finger, which I should really be using my ring finger, and applying just the smallest amount of this. Like, it's not a lot, you guys. Like, the days of like that's over and done with. We don't have, well, there are definitely days that I'm like, I want to be bright, but we don't have to do that anymore. So I'm just going ahead and applying that with my ring finger right underneath. Okay, now I am going to contour, and recently I have really been enjoying the Fenty matchsticks, and then I use the color Truffle. I just like to draw line there, do a little bit there, here, and that's it. I don't do my nose. No, I do not do my nose. I'll show you guys how I get my nose snatch. Don't worry. And then this is just an e.l.f. It's called the Airbrush blender. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take the jawline, and I'm just blending that downwards. Okay. This is how I get that kind of like nice jawline. And then, but I do want it to be the most here, kind of like cutting. That's why I apply it there, and then I diffuse it down and back, and then of course a little bit forward as well, but mostly down and going back into my face. Next I do my forehead. And this is like, if you apply gel, like you would have makeup all up in your forehead. So how could you do that? I couldn't do that. So I'm applying down onto my forehead, and then I'm also applying going back. Now, sometimes what I'll do, like today I look a little crazy, so I'll go back in with my foundation brush. I'm not adding any more foundation onto it, but I'm just going back in with that brush and kind of like blending the two colors together, just kind of going back and forth until I get the blend that I want. Boom, there we go. I got somewhere to go, you people. Me and my good Judy got plans. Oh, I'm using the wrong brush. It doesn't really matter though. I'm gonna go in with the right brush though, just because this does have product. So when I do the blending, I am thinking about if product is building up on this brush, where do I want the least amount of product and where do I want the most amount of product? So I want the least amount on the jaw, I want a little bit more here, and I want the most to be left on the cheek kind of area here. So that's why I go in that order, okay? And listen, we are blending. Blend your makeup, sweetheart. Beat your face. Blend your face. Do it, okay? Boom. See the difference? Boom versus boom. Now you could go, if I was doing full glam, I may do this a little bit sharper, and I may use a different product because I find this product to be a little bit more natural for me. I do also have the Huda Tantour, which I use if I want to go a little bit more full glam, but I do the same process. I go through this whole process and then I say, okay, let me contour, let me build it up a little bit. I may add a little bit more onto the temple area here, and then a little bit further back into the ear line, into the kind of the ear line back here. But for today's look, I think that this is more than sufficient. There we go. Next, I like to use my Hourglass Vanishing, whatever it is, concealer, vanishing concealer. The only thing that be vanishing is the product out of this tube, okay? And what I do is I apply this down the bridge of my nose, in between. Do you see how much product I'm using? Literally the smallest amount. On my chin, small amount. Then I do the inside corner, and right here on the outer corner. And that is it, okay? And then when I'm blending, I'm not blending up, I'm blending it down here, right? So it's like bright, I'm not blending it up into my lash line, I'm blending it kind of more down. I'm going in with this concealer brush, it has product on it, the foundation on it has different things, and this allows me to get kind of that seamless blend. Then now here, this is how I do it. Blend into this corner, and I'm bringing it, you see how I'm not coming up here? I'm bringing it down. Okay, I have lines under my eyes. I cannot go there, because if I put too much product there, then all I'm gonna do is create creases, right? I even come down here a little bit, like to the top of my cheek. I come down here sometimes and like brighten that up a little bit. But there, blend it. Now, usually what I do is, I'll just put this in here, I'll clean them later, is I'll go back in with my foundation brush, and I'll go through and I'll blend any harsh lines or any areas that I feel like need to be blended a second time. We will move on to powder. Now, there's a lot of controversy about how you should do powder, and I've tried a couple of different techniques, and this technique works for me. So I take a small amount of my Laura Mercier in the color Translucent Honey, When I say a small amount, like you may not even be able to see, and I take a big fluffy brush, and this is step 1 of setting. So I go ahead, I put some of it on, then I tap off the excess, and I'm coming through, and I'm literally like rolling it on, and I'm tapping my face. Again, other side. And I focus the most amount on kind of like that T-zone area, not the outer part, because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to be applying contour in that area. For my contour, I use Fenty Beauty's Cocoa Naughty Instant Warmth Bronzer, and I use the same brush, okay? The same brush, and I'm literally just kind of going through and adding some warmth back into my face. Can you tell the difference between like this side and this side? I don't know how significant it is on camera, but I'm literally just adding warmth back into the perimeter of my face, going in those same areas that we contoured before, and just kind of pulling it down and blending it out and bringing warmth and life back to my face. Boom. Don't put this too far though. I grab just kind of, it's an eyeshadow blending brush. And what I do is I go right into the crease of my eye and then kind of pull it down the bridge of my nose, okay? The crease of my eye, down the bridge of my nose. Crease of my eye, and I'm using the same Cocoa Naughty, the same bronzer color. I don't use a ton of colors. The crease of my eye, down the bridge of my nose. Crease of my eye, and the bridge of my nose. This is how you get that kind of seamless look to your makeup, right? Because you're using the same colors, that monochromatic kind of look, which is what I find looks the best on me. Next, I take kind of a larger, fluffier brush, and I just kind of dust this. And this is like an all-over setting powder that I sometimes use to touch up my makeup throughout the day. And I just kind of dust this all over my eye. And just because we put product on it, it just needs to be set, you know what I mean? So I'll just dust that all over the eye, just like that. I use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finishing Powder in number 2. And where I applied that highlight, I kind of go in and I apply this to get that extra bright look, okay? Now this is my Makeup by Mario brush, and it's like a setting brush, but like a micro version. And I just find this really gives like the ultimate kind of finishing touch to the makeup. Just come in here, boom, shaboom, shaboom. Yes, okay, good. After that, I start to set. So the first thing I do is, again, fresh Vitamin Nectar antioxidant glow water. Boom, step 1. I do that. Okay, we're getting rid of that powdery finish on our face. But before we can move on, I do like to use my Omri-Z highlighter. I know a lot of people don't use highlighter anymore, but I just use the smallest amount. Boom, boom, down the bridge of my nose like that. Just like that. That's all I do. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Because who doesn't want to be glowing? Okay? And I find that if I do the setting powder, or if I do the spray first, then the highlighter sticks to it and I don't have to use as much. Next for setting, I go in with the Milk Hydro Grip setting spray. Boom. Okay, we're getting rid of all of those powders. We're making it cohesive, melting everything in. While that sets, I just use the L'Oreal, this cheap, actually, what's her face likes this? This cheap mascara, and I'm really not that specific. I just kind of like dust it on. I'm not doing big lashes or anything like that. I run it on my bottom lash line. Boom. That's one layer. Then I'll go ahead and use this Essence False Lash Effect, and I just like to apply that to the outside corner. I just find it gives my lashes a little bit of length. I should really start curling my lashes. I say that all the time, but lashes aren't a thing for me anymore. It's all about brows for me. All about brows. And again, run that on the bottom. There we go. Boom. Just like that. Okay. The Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Boom. If you still look powdery after all of those setting sprays, you are using way too much powder, girlfriend, okay? Just let that dry, and while that's drying, you know, ooh, we are glowing. I'm going to take my hair out, and see, we got a little bit of a kink on this side, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fix that up. There we go. And on this side, how are we doing? We're doing okay. Let's go ahead, fix that up. Now, as I separate my curls, I use like a texturizing spray, and what I do is I just spray the texturizing spray onto my hands, and I separate the curls, just kind of pulling them apart like this, okay? Pulling them apart. I'm not really running my fingers through them or anything like that. I'm just kind of pulling them apart. And then if my hands are completely dry, I'll put some more of that texture spray